Advanced area actions. Our basic definition is going to be any pass or dribble that enters into or takes place within the areas between the opposition team's lines and those that go beyond the defensive line. Half space. The half spaces are the areas between zones or lines. Lines are the imaginary line connecting groups or banks of players, like the defense, midfield, or forwards. For this lesson, we're only going to be looking at the horizontal half space, or the half space between the lines. I've shaded this area in yellow between, let's say, the defensive 4 and the midfield 4. Here we see a true representation of the lines using Manchester City as the example in their 4-3-3. We have a bank of 4 in the back, the 3 midfielders here, and the 3 offensive players. Picture 1 is what we went over in the last session, where basically you have control of the ball between 2 opponents and your teammates are taking up positions just outside the opponents on the same line. We also talked about how we ultimately want to get the ball into this passing area that is the furthest distance from all opponents around it. Note that given the shape of the defensive lines, there are multiple optimal passing areas for us to attack. In picture 2, instead of having space in front of us that the defense wants to close, we have one defender cutting off our direct path forward or coming to pressure us directly. Again, our teammates will position themselves on the opponent's line and away from the defender. Just as with picture 1, we are looking to get the ball behind the opponent's line and into a space that's furthest from each of the opponents. I received an email from one of you ladies about the last session where she stated that the diagram showed a pass that should be easily intercepted, such as the diagram and animation shown here. She is completely correct. Last session was touching on the basics of these lessons that we will be building upon. This question leads nicely into our next section where we talk about the 5 parts of a picture. While each part listed will easily take multiple lessons to cover, I will attempt to provide a general understanding of the 5 in this session. If we take picture 1 and the last diagram and animation, we see an example of angles, lines, and distance. The distance the ball must cover to reach the teammate in their current position is too great, as the line of the opponent is too close to the path of the ball. This also means that the angle to the teammate is too shallow. If the opponent does intercept the ball on this pass, it would only take 1 or 2 steps on the dribble to take all 3 of the players out. This situation does not lend itself well to a pass to these teammates in their current position. However, the distance of the ball carrier to the opponent's line may allow the ball carrier to dribble quickly up to the desired location behind the line. If we look at another situation, one where the ball carrier is further backfield from the line, the distance to dribble the ball to the optimal location is quite far. Remember, the greater the distance the ball must travel, the more time the opponent has to intercept or adjust their position. Therefore, this situation does not call for a dribble as much as a pass option is more open now. This is due to the better angle the carrier has to his teammates and the greater distance the opponent must travel in this situation to intercept. Yet another option is to pass directly to the optimal AAA pass area. This will require the movement of a teammate into the pass area from either side or back from a forward player. Such a pass will require the timing and proper pace and placement of the pass, understanding of the optimal space, which requires scanning for the picture or knowledge of the opponent's placement and lines, understanding of the situation by all teammates, will a player dribble or pass based on the picture, and the timing of the run by a teammate to the location. This is by far not an exhaustive list of options, as there are more run options, dribble options, and movements by the ball carrier and teammates that will draw opponents out of position, all of which I will try to get to in later sessions. So, with a different picture, do the 5 parts of angles, distance, timing, lines, and situation change? No. We will see that with a different picture, the 5 parts help us solve the picture and advance forward. Here we have 2 banks of 3 in perfect little squares. Remember, we are working from very general pictures to more realistic. With this picture, we have an opponent cutting out our direct path forward. However, we do have a teammate able to make a 2v1 on this defender in front while producing a direct path to the optimal AAA location via a dribble or pass. We can see the 5 parts may be easier to exploit in this picture, as the ball carrier has favorable angles to their teammate, can break the line with the teammate's first touch, and our teammates have distance from the ball carrier and from the defenders. Finally, our timing must be on. Timing is far more difficult than it seems, yet without proper timing, everything falls apart. Here's another favorite quote of mine from Johann Cruyff. There is only one moment in which you can arrive on time. If you're not there, you're either too early or too late. This first animation is of an example with a pass and run made to the opponent's line. You can see that the defender must react, and so they're about a half second slower than the teammate running to the line, which means by the time the pass gets there on time, that teammate has already made a touch toward the optimal AAA location. Now, if we are too early on our run, or the pass is made too soft or too late, the defender has time to get in position and cut off our forward progress. Or worse, step in front and intercept the pass. If we are too late to our position, or the pass is made too strong or too early, then we are not there to collect the ball in our location, and we are now transitioning to defense as the other team collects and moves forward. Now, before we move on to our game examples, I want you to look for the optimal advanced area action pass areas in the following pictures. Remember, this game does not allow for timeouts to think about our next move, save set plays, which we will cover later. We take pictures at every point of the game. We use these pictures to perceive our environment, conceive of our options, decide our actions, deceive the defense by hiding our intent, execute our decision, and assess our actions and player reactions, and repeat. This cycle occurs for 90 minutes whether you have the ball or not.